PLE this Saturday in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, is what used to be called Crown Jewel, and it used to be a low stakes house show. Now it has been rebranded as King and Queen of the Ring, live from Saudi Arabia. It is now a high stakes PLE, and it is one of the shows that is just before Money in the Bank and just before SummerSlam. So we could get some real storyline setups. We could get some real, hey, this is going to, kind of tilt the dominoes and they're going to start to fall at other PLEs. I'm going to pull up the card and I want to hear your thoughts and feelings about this Saturday's PLE in Jeddah. Before I get the card pulled up, it looks like, and we'll even start with this, undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes versus United States champion Logan Paul. And I believe this is a winner gets both belts match. Is it not? Or no?
They change. That's so that this is my this one move made the pay whatever you call them now, premium live event, lose a lot of steam for me. Just because originally it was winner takes all. So either Logan wins and surprises the world and becomes the WWE champion, or Cody becomes a Grand Slam champion. That was a great story. But I think they realized that they booked themselves into a corner. So they did a segment where Logan Paul's lawyer came out and said, I'm sorry, the WWE title can't be on, or the United States title can't be on the line. So now it almost feels like a foregone conclusion that it's probably going to be an insanely good like surprisingly good match, but Cody's going to win. We did in our last video, if you watch that, a breakdown why Logan Paul should win. And I still hold by that.
Why Logan Paul should win.
I still hold to that.
Yeah.
That Logan Paul should dethrone Cody, because Cody at this point doesn't have a benefit from having a long title reign.
Right.
I mean, it would suck if it was 2 days or whatever, but he's had some wins. He beat AJ Styles. He did some things. They could move the belt off of him, and Cody's story is complete. They're not like, we're in bonus innings now, pal,
Right.
But if Logan Paul won the title, which still could happen, I just think the chance of it now is that big. But what if they set up a big swerve? It's not going to happen. But what if they set up a big swerve? If Logan Paul won the belt, it would take the notoriety of WWE even up a higher level in the non-wrestling watching public's eyes, who are like, oh, Logan Paul is that, what? And he's good? What?
Well, and then the opposite side of the coin is, or would that diminish the credibility of the actual in-ring talent, right? To have this outsider that didn't go through developmental come in and win 2 titles,
Right.
I could see the old dogs in the business really not liking that, the boys in the back, as they say. Maybe
Logan Paul's better than you, old dogs in the back. He proved himself in a year that did more in his career in a year than you did in 10 years of yours. And I don't mean that as shade.
Yeah, but this, Lee, they protect the business. Like, that's always been true.
Right.
What's best for business, protect the business. There's a reason Undertaker said recently, I don't feel comfortable on my own podcast because for decades I protected this character.
Right.
No public sightings, no signings, no autographs, there's no hidden, behind the scenes footage. It is Undertaker comes and goes. He's an enigma. And so now for him to be Mark with a podcast and just, John about like he just says, like, I'm so uncomfortable because it goes against everything I was taught and everything I believe about this business.
Hey, Mark with a podcast. We would love to see you come on Champions Chat, and we would take good care of you, because you are legitimately the S+ tier of wrestling. But aside from the Undertaker, if you were to look at anybody below that S+ tier, your Hogans, your Shawn Michaels, your Bret Harts, your Ric Flairs, your Rock, Austin, keep going. If you're in that mid tier of wrestler, Logan Paul came in with no training and did more and better than almost every wrestler before
It's
him.
true.
It's just crazy.
He's better on the mic than Ricochet can ever hope to be, and he's
Oopsie.
in ring as good as not Ricochet, but most high
Top tier guys.
flyers. Like he's doing moves maybe better than Jey Uso. Like
Oh, easy.
he's
Easy.
yeah, he's very athletic, and
Right.
he's a great heel. Like I love to
He
not
is.
like him. I love,
Right.
and that's what you need from a heel champ. You need to hate his guts. He needs to make you feel something. And
Ooh.
I like Logan Paul, and I like A-Town Down Under as well. I like this little pretty boy faction that's coming together in this little alliance. So Lee, what's your pick
Wait.
after all this? What's your pick and what's your
I,
take? Let's hear it.
I have one thing to say that
Yeah.
I might regret, and my goodness, watch this go viral. Logan Paul is this generation's Roddy Piper.
Huh.
Like he gets that kind of heat. He knows how to make you hate him, and yet he's so good you can't
Yeah,
deny him.
he does work a crowd. Logan Paul works a crowd, and it's real heat. It's not the heat that Dominic's getting. That's heat that the business kind of pushed his way.
Right.
Gets real heat, real animosity, and
Yeah.
there's an emotional connection with that. It's fun to boo Dominic because it's fun to boo Dominic. You don't
Right.
actually hate Dominic. You're not invested in that heat that you're giving Dominic. It's just the thing to do, right?
Unless you're Iron Sheik 84 and then you legitimately don't like him. But my pick,
On your family,
unfortunately now,
Mysterio from Iron Sheik 84.
right. My pick, unfortunately, now is Cody Rhodes. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. I legitimately think it should be Logan Paul. I think that would be the right decision for the business
Huh.
and the elevate. This is like a Hulk Hogan WrestleMania 1. He was in Rocky, bring in the superstars kind of level moment. And
Okay.
that's what the previous owner did to make the company go up here.
So
However, Cody's going to win since
yeah,
they changed the story.
totally agree. Cody's gonna win. Cody's gonna get cheated by A-Town Down Under. Cody might get smacked with Nux. Jey Uso may come to help him. That may set up a feud with Uso versus Logan Paul.
Yeah.
So there's going to be something, like I said, tilting the dominoes. This is just going to be the first domino that falls into the others. But I do think this is going to be a future storyline match. But I think this storyline of Cody versus Logan ends in Jeddah.
Right.
What do you think about Becky Lynch, Women's World Champion, versus Liv Morgan on the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour?
I am saddened. Becky is the greatest female wrestler ever, period. Come
Wow.
at me.
Wow.
And public opinion on her has shifted because she's won so much. Like there was a poll on WWE YouTube that was like, who do you want to win this weekend, Becky or Liv? Liv was like 60 something percent.
Right.
Becky was in the 30% range. To me, Liv's great. She's fun. She's whatever. She's a great B player.
She's okay.
Becky is the GOAT.
She's okay.
But
She's fine. I mean,
so
she's like, yeah,
yeah.
she's a support character. She's a support cast.
Yeah.
She's not a main eventer. They tried to make her a main eventer.
They didn't do her any favors with their matches, though. So I mean, the booking on her was terrible. So maybe with good booking, maybe she could.
I don't know that she has it.
She's good.
I don't know.
So.
I don't know that she is good in ring. Like maybe I'm wrong. Like I would say she's fair in ring, but I think Zoe Stark is more proficient in ring than Liv.
Right.
I think Baszler is more proficient in ring than Liv. I think Liv, I don't know that she was that much better than Ronda Rousey, honestly. Like in ring performer, I don't know. I think and I know I'm. If the bar now is Tiffany and Bianca, I could put Becky up there with them. She could work a match, but can Liv? Can Liv hang
Yeah.
with Bianca in a believable way? No,
No.
no.
She'd have to cheat, which again, if you go the dastardly heel route, then that could work just fine. She could get there. I guess it depends on me what the storyline is. Is Becky a placeholder champion in that she gets it from Rhea, she gives it back to Rhea when Rhea gets back so that they can just kind of pause, but keep going the story. Then Becky wins. But at this point, I know they tried heel Becky before and it wasn't great. Nobody wanted it, but I think
It's
this
weird.
is the Hollywood Hogan moment for Becky where she might need to turn heel in order for people to get behind her again. But you can't do heel Becky versus heel Liv and get so
Right.
if the story is Liv versus Rhea, which is what they were setting up before the injury, then you give it to Liv. Rhea comes back and destroys her.
You know what the right
Um,
role for Becky is? If I had a dream booking for Becky, it would be for her to drop this belt. I don't care when or to who, but drop the belt, go be the commissioner of NXT. Go be the run NXT,
hmm,
invest in the Thea Hales, right? And like
wow.
build up the next generation. Like have a feud with Roxanne where you are the, disenfranchised commissioner that can't get Roxanne to play by the rules. And you've got to have these epic, promos against one another. That would be incredible. Now, of course, that means Rock's daughter has to go somewhere. Um, I don't think
Yeah.
that's going to happen anytime soon. But I really like the role that Paige used to
Nepotism.
play, the role that Sonya Deville used to play, right? Like Becky would do that better and be
Mm,
over again if she was.
right.
Becky the enforcer, and the
Yeah.
administrator. So maybe Liv injures her and she drops the belt and she has to rehab, and in rehabbing she becomes, the commissioner of, I mean that's what I
Right.
would love to see that story go.
Right.
Um,
Well,
yeah.
here's the behind the scenes though on this where it does matter. If Becky retains, that's a sign that she 100% re-signed. As of right now, we don't know her contract is up like this week. And as far as we know, she has not re-signed. Her husband has, so Seth
Ah,
has. But let me just say,
of
Becky,
course.
if you're listening, look at what the competition did to Sasha Banks and make a
Oh,
decision that's right for
oh,
you. Because seriously, like Sasha Banks went from this is the one of the arguably best females ever to who's
right,
that?
right.
So hopefully Becky stays, but if she retains, it's 100% sign she re-signed. If she loses, it doesn't mean she's going away, but
I had no idea.
that's the bigger question I have. I don't care really
I
about
hadn't
the
heard
outcome
that.
of the match outside of that parameter.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that. I'm assuming Becky keeps the belt to continue driving book sales. That was my thought. Is
Possibly.
but if we're seeing the book sales decline, Liv would be an amicable opponent to drop the belt to. That would be
Yeah,
believable. It wouldn't bury Becky. Um,
right. No, Becky's
this
going to
would
be
have to
fine no matter
be.
what.
That's when you ask, like, is this the climax of the Revenge Tour story?
No, it goes against Rhea.
Right. So yeah. So I don't know. I'm having Becky go over, but this is starting to have a house show feel, right? This is starting to have
Right.
like a low stakes Jeddah house show feel if
Uh-oh.
that's what happens. But I think that's what happens. What do you
Yep.
got, Lee?
No, that's it. Like I say, this match, I mean, for Becky, my favorite female ever in wrestling, I just don't care. I mean, other than if she stays, I want her to stay. I mean, I'm great for her if she future endeavors herself, but I just don't see a valuable proposition where somebody else is going to use her the right way, but maybe she does. Maybe she bets on herself. Maybe she has that Cody Rhodes story. It's just the difference is she's one of the most decorated champions in history at this point. So she doesn't need that go away and prove yourself
Right.
moment. She just needs to transition into that, not quite the legends role yet, but that's the one who establishes younger stars role, like you said. That's all I got. for her for
So
that.
next up would be finals of the women's Queen of the Ring. Um, in the finals is Lyra Valkyria representing Raw.
Yeah, right.
The finals representing SmackDown will be the winner of Bianca Belair versus Nia Jax.
Yeah,
I'm
so
assuming it's going to be Bianca because Nia could not carry a match against Lyra. I'm going to assume,
right,
right? Because who's carrying the match against Nia? It's always her opponent.
right.
So Bianca's going to carry the match. Bianca's going to go over. It's going to be an epic, in my opinion. Lyra versus Bianca is set. There's no possible way
Right.
they would anyway. So,
Well, I would have said that when it was Jade versus Nia, I would have told you 100%. Jade's going over 100%. She's your queen of the ring. And
right.
then they had Nia win, and I went,
Yeah.
what?
Well, they can't put
What?
Nia. I mean, they can't put Jade versus Bianca. That's got to be a dream booking that people are salivating to see.
Yeah,
Whenever
maybe.
Jade is finally ready in the ring, right? So
Yeah,
they can't do it. They can't let it out of the bag yet. But I cannot believe they had her lose that match. Like I
right.
cannot believe.
It's her first loss in WWE, right? I mean, she
Yeah.
hasn't lost that I know of. Maybe I'm wrong, but she
No.
hasn't wrestled that much. But yeah, so for me, Queen Bianca doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, again, this is a Becky Lynch situation again, even though Bianca's earlier in her career, she's already done everything. And so, I mean, yeah, adding Queen of the Ring to her titles would make her more prestigious in the Hall of Fame ceremony. But other than that, I just don't see it. This is the time to start like Triple H, booking wise, needs to start establishing his generation of superstars.
You're gonna have a
And
rookie win Queen of the Ring over the EST.
that is my preference. That's not what I say will happen, but
Right.
I would say that would be that shock thing. Like King of the Ring, its counterpart to Queen of the Ring, has made the careers of several people, most notably Steve Austin. Now, the Attitude Era didn't begin at that promo, but
Right.
Steve Austin beating Jake the Snake for King of the Ring is what inaugurated the Austin era. What
Right.
if we had another moment like that and Lia Valkyria shows up as, we've been talking about Tiffany Stratton, and now we go, oh, oh,
Lyra's incredible.
oh,
Lyra has been so impressive in her Raw run.
yeah. What if
Uh,
she beats Bianca definitively? Because here's the other thing. Rumor behind the scenes,
she's
innuendo,
she's pregnant.
she's possibly pregnant.
Oh,
And I
she's
would say like, hey,
yeah,
that's just noise, but like
like
Dawkins
you're right.
posted a thing
Right.
with Montez
Yeah.
that said some words that were like, oh, that's
Yeah,
yeah,
I agree. I think she's pregnant because of the Dawkins tweet this week. Like I
right,
think I don't know. Do they have a birth announcement? I mean, do they do a pregnancy announcement? Usually you let the couple
right,
do that. It's kind of
right.
dishonoring to make that announcement for
Well,
them.
Montez was right there in the photo doing the
One of
like, oh man. So I
like,
mean he
was that the announcement? And if so, do you let your boy do it? Maybe you do.
right. But can Bianca even wrestle if she's like that's the thing I've been wondering is like why didn't they eliminate Bianca as a surprise and go to Lyra versus Jade? But again, maybe it's just the fact that Jade couldn't put the match together with Lyra the way that you
So
want it to.
okay, Lee. Well, let's say this. Regardless of who wins that match, Bianca versus Nia. So if Bianca's pregnant and if Nia is Nia, like, are you saying Lyra is almost the guaranteed Queen of the Ring winner?
She is my best bet given the circumstances. I have been known to be wrong before, but I think crowning her and giving her, I don't know if she's heel face, is she, like they're still establishing her, but
Babyface to the max because she's
right.
Becky's protege.
Oh, well, see, now I like her even more.
Yeah,
So,
she's the one Becky is like lifting up and
right.
at a girling after the match. She's backstage together. Becky's basically carrying Lyra's promos for her. Um,
Ooh. Ooh, that'd be a good role for Becky to be the man. I'd love to see Becky be the manager. That'd be, well, if just so imagine, okay, let's imagine then Becky becomes her mouthpiece or whatever, and how Becky can come out and say, the rookie who in her first major event won Queen of the Ring. She proved herself. Now she's got a chip on her shoulder. Take her heel. You could keep her face, but it just see. Here's the thing. Think about these NXT call-ups we had in the previous regime's era, most notably Karrion Kross, dominant champion in NXT, comes up, gets beaten 3 seconds by Jeff Hardy wearing a gimp outfit, and not Jeff Hardy, him, and is still not believable to this day. There has not been a moment where we've
Yeah,
gone, oh, Kross redeemed himself, and I don't think that's on him entirely, though some blame, but it's not
very
entirely
bad
on him.
booking.
However, you bring up a new character like Lyra, and you give her the flowers right off the
She's
bat,
so
and people go,
likable.
oh, I got to pay attention to her.
I have a feeling they're gonna put that crown on Naya's head as a way to
Ugh.
legitimize her as a monster heel in a main eventer. I really do. I think she's gonna be
No.
the heel queen that we hate to hate.
Oh,
I think that's what's gonna happen. Um,
I'm depressed now.
I am too, because I really like Lyra. I just don't see him putting it on a kid right out of the gate. So I'm calling Queen of the Ring, Nia Jax. What's your pick, Lee? What's your prediction?
I've got to go live Valkyria because without that, I don't know that I can bet. She might get Dominic heat. Like maybe that's what they're going for. Or
And
maybe that's what establishes her into the bloodline. She says, look, I am royalty. Your
right.
bloodline, I am
Oh,
royalty.
that'd be
There,
good.
maybe.
Well, here's the thing. Usually I'm the optimist and the dream booker, and this one I just feel very pessimistic about. Um, so the
Right.
men's
Oh,
finals is going to be Gunther representing Raw
yes.
versus the winner of Randy Orton versus Tama Tonga this Friday night on SmackDown in Jeddah. So tomorrow night
Yeah.
will determine who's in the final. So same situation as the girls. We got
Yep.
Gunther versus, does it matter? I'm saying it doesn't matter who wins. Gunther goes over, and it basically is a squash match.
Maybe. So Tamatanga, I mean, obviously, if they're trying to do something with the bloodline, and if they go Naya and Tama, now you've got like the bloodline has all the royalty. So there's that avenue. I saw somebody post, it was like an official sheet or whatever, but they posted, how dare you beat the biggest draw in your company on free TV? And I was like, wait, they're legitimately talking about Jey Uso. Like Jey Uso is a fun novelty character, and he's proving himself more and more as he goes. But
Hmm.
putting Gunther in that spot was 100% the right call.
Yeah.
I almost think it's a foregone conclusion then that he goes against Randy Orton because the IWC Internet Wrestling Community has dream booked Orton versus Gunther a lot of
Yeah.
times. And
Yeah.
that would be like one where it's almost a legend killer moment. Like if they could lean into Gunther's, like if he could do a promo or Kaiser could do a promo right before the match and say, "You used to be the legend killer. Now you meet the legend killer."
I
And
think so.
like goes after him. I think that would be wonderful. I think they have a great match. I hope Gunther wins. Randy Orton does not need anymore. Again, it's the legend situation. It's not that I don't like him. He just doesn't need any more accolades at this point unless he beats Ric Flair's all-time championship record. That's the only one that I would say, okay, if you
Yeah.
want to do that, you can do that now.
Gunther was the first person to announce his entrance into the King of the Ring. And a lot of times I think they play with that. The first
Right.
person to go live that they're in is oftentimes who's in the main event. And I think this is what legitimizes Gunther as a main event heel, as the
Mm,
monster heel who just in an
as if the
upset
IC title
win
one didn't.
took down Randy
Took
Orton
down Randy Orton. Yeah.
so that he can be, I think you said it, the new legend killer. That would
Right.
be a phenomenal build for Gunther. And it's so interesting too that they put his IC title at a 666 day reign
Uh,
to
I
even
hate that.
say to even say
Every time he's on.
this guy is bad.
Yeah.
Is a bad guy. He's so bad
Oof.
that even his title reign is the baddest number we can think of, right? So it's like you will be the heel of heels for a while.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
I think he's the Rock calls himself final boss. Gunther is he is the next redacted that guy who had the long title reigns and barely showed up. But here's the thing, and I just thought of this too, is I was dream booking the bloodline with two king and queen. What if it does come down to Tamatonga, or even if it doesn't, if it's Randy versus Gunther, Gunther wins, and then on the next show, you see Nia Jax come up to the bloodline and say, "Look, you think you're royalty. I'm the only one who's royalty." And what if the true tribal chief is not The Rock in the storyline? What if Nia takes Roman's spot and she becomes like the mistress of the bloodline, and everybody can make fun of
Oh my
NWO
gosh,
2.0,
dude.
NWO 2000. I get it. That's
That's
probably what it would
crazy.
be.
That's crazy. That's a crazy take, bro. Whoa.
She's Missy of the bloodline.
Wow. Wow. I just don't, I mean, I'm open to it. I think I kind of like it.
If
It,
it's done right, it could be fun.
it
And
would
then you
be
could have
innovative.
Roman come back and beat Nia. I don't know.
Start calling herself the godmother, you know?
Oh,
That'd be so funny.
yeah,
Um, so you've got Gunther going over as well?
absolutely.
Okay. Intercontinental title, triple threat match. Probably the match I care the least about on the card.
Yeah.
Sami Zayn, or as my son calls him, Sami Zayn. Uh,
Sami Zayn.
Chad Gable versus Big Bronson Reed in a triple threat match. We've got heel Gable on the ropes against Alpha Academy, who has slapped Otis in the face, who has berated Maxine. I have to believe this is the end of the Alpha Academy, regardless.
Yeah,
What you got
100%.
going on, Lee?
Yeah, I'm the same. This match doesn't matter to me. So Sami Zayn being the one to dethrone Gunther was always unpopular with me. Sami had his moment up to Roman, and if he would have been the guy to dethrone Roman, I'd have been behind him 100%. But it feels like he lost all his steam since then. So this is kind of the rebuild Sami Zayn leg of the tour. Bronson, I think, would be great. And if Bronson got it, then you could go to Jey Uso because they both talked about being their first singles, title run. But in all honesty, I think Alpha Academy costs Chad Gable. Sammy pins Chad Gable. Chad Gable then goes off with the Creed brothers, breaks up Alpha Academy, starts Team Angle 2.0, and
Oh,
then he goes after Sammy and wins it at SummerSlam. That's my hope.
you know what else I was thinking would be really savvy for Gable to do would be to say that he's the master's level educator, and he's calling up his undergrads, Chase U, to be like I was thinking, like, could that work reputably? Like, could they bring up, because Chase U kind of sucks. Like it's not
They
it,
do.
it's like, what is it called? The Varsity Club, it used to be called in
Spirit Squad.
oh, it's they're the same. It's the same branding, it's the same outfits.
Do, 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 do,
Yeah,
do, do, do.
it's terrible. Wasn't there somebody famous in the Spirit Squad? Didn't
Dolph
somebody?
Ziggler, Ziggy
Yeah.
Puff.
Oh. So it's the Spirit Squad 2.0, and maybe
Yeah.
Gable could redeem it. I
Well, that's
would
why I say he's going to be Team Angle 2.0. They're going to become
That would be
that.
awesome, especially on an Olympic year, Olympic summer. I would
Didn't even think about that
love that.
on Peacock.
I think there's no way Sammy's dropping this title in Jeddah. Sammy is a outspoken and devout Muslim. He is the fan favorite in Jeddah. Last year or 2 years ago, he came out in the traditional Arabic uniform and spoke Arabic to the crowd, and the roof exploded. He's the hometown hero, so to speak, not
Yep.
Mustafa Ali, who it was years ago.
Right.
Sammy is getting
Weird.
legitimate, baby face, like no other pop is like Sammy's pop in
Jeddah.
Jeddah. And I think we saw that on the press conference. I think we saw that in the pre-show press event in the previous years. They were chanting two names louder than any other names in Jeddah: Sami Zayn and LA Knight. LA Knight was the other crowd favorite, fan favorite. And so there's not an LA Knight match on this
he
card,
lost.
but I'm believing that something on SmackDown in Jeddah is going to be LA Knight centric. That he's probably somehow going to be in a main event match on Friday night as a token of fan appreciation of LA Knight. So I think Sammy goes over because I think Bronson Reed's got to be the one to do all the work, do all the pain, and somehow Sammy pins Gable that Bronson has incapacitated at the end of the match.
Because Otis turns on him. I mean, that's 100% the way it's got to go. So I think we're both in agreement. Sami Zayn retains. I don't see another outcome.
And the roof goes off the arena when they cheer for him. And it's going to be beautiful. Yeah. And I could see maybe even his wife being part of the celebration because of her heritage, and she's on his merch and she's always ringside. So I think it could be like a really heartwarming, a really touching finish. I don't think
LA Knight finally beats him.
I don't think it would be the main event, which makes me think this might be the opening match of the night.
I can see that.
Because you want to open.
Gunther needs to be the main event. Yeah, if it's going to be King and Queen of the Ring.
Right.
And if you've got Nia versus Lia Valkyria, I mean, there's not a name in that yet. So it's got to be Gunther as the main event.
I think it could be Sammy opening the night, kicking off high energy. And I think women's queen match could be match 2. That might be the go get some popcorn match in Jeddah. Especially, you're going to have the ladies wearing the NASCAR suits. You're going to have the ladies, doing things in modesty that they won't, so it's like, I don't know that the women's match is that popular over there, but it's growing in interest, right? So I don't know what to say about international, policy and customs and mannerisms, but I do know Sammy's the guy.
Yeah. Is that it? Is that the whole card?
That's the whole card that's currently released, unless there's something else that comes out on SmackDown. This is from WWE's website today. So, I don't know. It seems like a kind of a shorter card, doesn't it?
And that's okay. I mean, that's one of the things, like, we don't need to have 7-hour long pay-per-view, PLE, whatever's. However, I guess the last takeaway I have, and then we got to close up here, is what happened to LA Knight? Like, what happened to LA Knight? I thought after WrestleMania, LA Knight would either go against Cody or whoever the world champion is right now. I forget who it even is. I'm joking, but legitimately, while you were talking, I was trying to think of who the world champion was. And I was like, oh yeah, it's Damian Priest, but he matters so little. I forgot about that. Legitimately.
Can I just say as a side note, since it's a shorter card, my predictions or my hopes for this night would be that we get the debut of whatever the Wyatt Six or the Uncle Howdy or what, I think that bubble is ripe and ready to pop. I don't know that they can keep adding interest to it. It's time to reveal. The reveal is ready, because if they don't do it Saturday, or are they just going to do it on a random Raw, right? Or are they going to
have to be the next Raw or something?
In Scotland, a Clash at the Castle.
That's too long.
Yeah, you need again, SummerSlam feels like you would be in a substantial match at SummerSlam because you've already arrived. Not only am I hoping for that, my other hope for this PLE is that we would see something happen with this new stable. It feels like a new stable forming within the Judgment Day of Dominic and Carlito and maybe Priest, to where we're kind of talking about these Latino kings. Like there was a possibility that Andrade would be with Dominic, but then they, flipped it, went face
Yeah.
Andrade. So it's like we've got all of these incredible, we've said this before, we've got all this incredible Latina talent that is too wrapped up in one self-contained story, but I'm really ready to see a breakout faction from it, maybe shuffle the deck and have something new come out of it to where it really transcends what they've been doing, and especially on the level of heel work that they're starting to put in with Carlito, where he's just taking out Dragon Lee, taking out Ray. He's this oddball. Now he's hanging around the locker room of the Judgment Day. I don't know what it's building towards, but I hope I get to see more of it. I like it. I'm very interested in this story, and I'd very much like to see more of it at this PLE. And I know it's a Raw story, so it may not develop, or it may be a promo, or it may be like one weird backstage conversation is all we see. I don't know.
Well, nobody from either of those factions is really involved, but I would love to see Dominic, like, he's been playing in the shadows, and all of a sudden, like, he's the one. Everybody talked about, like, oh, Rhea might take over the Judgment Day, or Finn might take, but what if he's the one and they do some hybrid LWO Judgment Day thing? JD McDonough has to choose. Finn Balor just goes out on his own. Damian Priest is out on his own. Rhea comes back, and what the heck, guys? What did you do to this? And
I would love to see Damian be the leader, or like muscle of a really kind of like, dominant faction involving all of those names that we've been discussing. And of course, you got to bring in Santos. You got to bridge the gap to whatever that Phantasma is. I mean, you got to just, it's got to evolve into something that's marketable and sustainable. And I don't think anything they're doing is right now. Maybe they're selling LWO shirts, but I don't know if they're doing anything with Santos Group and Angel and Umberto. You gotta make this thing a thing, right? We're dancing around what is it, and we like it, but we want to see it happen. We want to see it happen. So whatever that is, like I'm just saying, like this evil Latin empire, like I really want to see it happen and replace the Judgment Day and be the top heel faction on Raw. I would love it. Queen Zelina, just what if the female winner of Queen of the Ring, and then Zelina comes out and just beats him with the scepter and tries to reestablish herself as the queen,
Right.
Like that would be so perfect. That would be a Jerry Lawler type move, when he took out Hart, when he put the crown on his head. There's only one king in the Federation. Yeah. So anyway,
it's me, Austin. Well,
this is just my dream booking again. So I don't like face Zelina. I don't like face LWO. My son does. He's a huge. I mean, he loves all of that. It's all we talk about, but I'd like to see him be the bad guys and dominant. So,
crazy. Well, I think that's all we got for this week. I want to say thank you to everybody who listens, to both versions of this, the full WWE version, or I'm sorry, the full podcast with the WWE version, and this split off, because, we love talking about wrestling. It's something we've cared about since our childhoods, and what can we say is still influencing us all this time later. It's an honor to be a part of this community, and we appreciate you guys. We'll see you Friday on Twitch. Bye.